started the live. Yeah, you caught it right on time. But yeah, the thing that you said about the Aboriginal ancestors of, I think it was is it your son's grandfather? Maybe I'm wrong. Trading. Tonight we're actually going to talk about non-Voynich manuscript stuff. So this is definitely intriguing. Alright. So there seems to be a delay on my video. Alright. Alright, so today we're going to talk about two things that I figured out. Two things I figured out. One is the origin of the word Matsya, which I discussed in the last line. And today I've figured out the other signs in the Indus script that look like numbers. I had already figured out several of them. Rasa and A, dependent A, and I. One sign within the tally mark system, the numbers. They're not numbers, but they just appear to be. Okay, I want to preface the discussion fish, right? But through my Indus script decipherment, I figured out that is not what it means. Mic feedback? There's mic feedback. Is that better? I don't think I have two different devices. For audio input. Alright, let me check something. Alright. Is that any better? Alright, so this is the word Matsya. And it doesn't mean fish. So I'm a little tired now. The accepted meaning of this word is fish. But obviously I don't think that. So in the Indus Valley script, they actually use what they TS instead of S. So I figured out And I was like, oh, well, I know that this, and I know that Indus script has affricates, and I know that ma is its own root word, and it's the most prevalent root word, not just measurement or value in that like abstract sense, but physical form. And there are many. So I decided to like what they call bifurcation, which has been treated that way for thousands of years. There is a man named Yaska, who in 600 CE, was it BCE? Long time ago, right? Was discussing the words Mina, and even so we have Mina and then we have Matsya. Both currently are understood to mean fish, but Matsya, the fish meaning for that is secondary to the original meaning. And this is where it gets interesting. Okay. Matsya is the name of the god Vishnu's first avatar. Okay, and its name was Matsya. But that's because not because it's a fish, but because it is the first form to manifest. Min, M-I-N, where it finally went back to the meaning of Matsya, the idea of the religious Matsya, right, coming to being. So they changed the meaning from Mina then Min. So this is my discussion on Matsya, just representing another word for avatar. Pretty much, it's the same concept as avatar, and that is why Vishnu's first avatar, the fish, was called Matsya. That's the only reason. Not because it actually means a fricative form of the regular my explanation of it makes more sense, not just religiously or lexically, but religiously. I talk about the religious aspect a whole lot more. Hypothesis. Okay. Everybody knows this, but Avestan and Sanskrit are sister languages, and they are a product of Proto-Indo-Aryan. Okay. Avestan is the language of Zoroastrians, of Iranian Zoroastrians, okay, who lived in the same place as the Vedic people, the ancestors of Indians. So they came from the same people at one point. So their language is very similar, okay. But there is an old Greek historian, ancient Greek historian, that traveled close by to that area, and he met an Indo-Iranian tribe, okay, and he called them Massagetai, okay, but he was transliterating the word, and this is the discussion on section 5.3, I believe. If I had it in Word, that would be so much easier. That's 4. Yeah. So Ma is in Ma. Okay, so that's a quick table, but I'm going to go toward the story here. Okay, here we go. The Greek historian met these people. He calls them Massagetai. Okay. We have a few scholars, Schmidt for one, have been glossing it as Masyakata. However, there's another scholar named Harmata, okay? And Harmata said that that's incorrect. Okay, Young Avestan, the language, right? The more recent version does have a word for fish. However, he knew that it means mortal or human, a god. It's Kavio or Masya in Avestan, and the older form of Avestan meant man or mortal. And only then in the younger Avestan did it mean fish. Avestan word. That it is supposed to be bifurcated after Ma. Ma's the root word. Sia with the affricate is the suffix meaning pertaining to, belonging to, or of. Okay? So, I mean, that was huge, the fact that I found that. I was like, you've got to be kidding me. A completely unrelated story, but related to the people, right? So, now we know that Masa, in the Greek, is supposed to be Masya or Masio, for man or mortal, okay? But this is where Harmata messed up. The second part of the word, he was still trying to translate it as kata with a K. But remember, even in Greek, he put a G. Okay, it's a G noise. Or Gatha. Okay, Masya Gatha. And what that actually means in Indo-Iranian or Avestan is the people of the hymn or song. And that makes sense because Zoroastrians are the people of hymns or songs. Yeah. So there we go. That's what that means. And now I have further proof that Matsya means to become physical in physical form, right? Because when you're physical form, you're mortal, right? I'm not saying that the god is mortal, but the incarnation is. Okay, so that's huge. That right there is just amazing. So we've got Sanskrit, we've got Avestan, that of course includes older and younger Avestan, and then we have the parent dialect or language, which is Proto-Indo-Aryan, and then before that and so it just stacks and stacks and stacks, and you're able to look at words and figure out what the previous spelling or sound would be in the previous language of a particular word. So that's what I did. I created a table, appendix. So here's Sanskrit, Matsya, Avestan, Masya or Masyo, right? PIA, Mas. And no one's done this before because no one thought to even consider Matsya as measured form, physical form, or mortal. Okay? So the Proto-Indo-European spelling and sound is Mayos or Mayos. So I can't believe I was able to do this. I was like, oh my gosh, I did it in like 2 days. I was like, this has got to be it. This has got to be it. And I kept looking and looking for just like lexical stories and little tidbits of information, and I was able to piece it together that that's what it originally means. Mina is fish. Matsya is manifested in physical form. Yes, Bharat. So I'll get into that. So Bharat is the original meaning, original name of India and the people. Bharat. Okay. Keep that in mind. So now we're going to get to the good stuff, the really, really good stuff. And that is the Indus Valley Civilization, or Harappan script design. I just need more inscriptions, I think, but I'm very certain that they are related. you go back, the smaller the words get. So I'm half asleep today. All right, so all of this is the anthropomorphic signs, okay? And then you get into zoological signs. Then you get into the so-called number signs, and they're not numbers, I promise. And the more abstract signs down here. By the way, if anybody's wondering, these little attachments here and here is a person holding an object. That way it's differentiated from the that way this is differentiated from this. It's not going to be the same. Alright. Occur quite frequently. You'll have to excuse me. I can hear my cat playing with a piece of plastic or something. I'll be right back. The stretch. Yes. Yep. And if you notice, it's the same signs repeated when they're attached to other signs. So you have primary base signs, which are the larger ones, and then you have other primary base signs when they're reduced in size attached to other ones, and it's interesting. Alright, my cat's still playing with whatever he's playing with. I'll be right back. Okay. So yes, the amount, there's 419 signs. It says 417 here, but there are other two listed. The elder Futhark would weep. Yes, you are right. Look how much out she was getting Chinese characters. Basically what that means is that you have a base sign that has no extra marks or modifying characters. That's the base sign, okay? And when you have a base sign, for the most part, that means you have the word for the object, you reduce it to the total. That is not always the case. every once in a while it kind of breaks the rules and doesn't read us a word all the way. You can have what they call CVC, consonant, vowel, consonant. You can have CV, consonant, vowel. You can even have two syllables retained rather than just one. That's rare though. I've only found that twice so far. No, except for the numbers thing. Oh, I'll show you. Alright, so okay, so for the first 16 or so correspondences, I compare Vinca to Indus. Okay, Vinca is from the Vinca or Tartous culture in the Balkan region, southeastern Europe, around culture. Okay, there is some sort of relation there, at least with there's another mark inside it. Here. Okay, without this extra, no, thank you, Striker. Thank you. I appreciate that. Honestly, it's just about resources. Sometimes you just gotta really dig and look for things. I'm surprised I even found that story. I was like, Eureka! In fact, I named one of my Voynich manuscript paper Eureka the first time I wrote it. It's those moments that really make. See that in the seal here. Okay. Without that tiny square, it would just be Ba. B-A. Two Vinca signs combined. Okay, looks like that one. I'm going to go this quick because angle. There is another Indus sign that's exact match with a sharp angular V, but it is connected to another sign. Here's this yoke sign. Yeah, correspondence 5. Here we got 6 that's nested within the other one. I don't know what this is yet. Still don't know what this one is, but I do believe it has an H on the second part of the syllable. This is Ja, J-A. This is a door. Devara, but they reduce it to Deva, and it means Deva, D-E-V-A. This is Hava, or Hava. They for some reason smash them together and take out the first vowel. That's not always the case, but with these abstract signs, they do. This is Ka, K-H or K-A. And so you can see the extreme similarity between the sign systems. Okay, it's considered Proto-Shiva. He's also called Pashupati, Lord of Animals, and he's wearing a cow horn hat. He has 3 faces. This is his horned hat. I do believe this part is either his hair, like supposed to be like flowing, or it is the rest of the skull part from the horns. I'll explain why in a little bit. Here's a really ancient coin, okay, that depicts what they call the Nandi bull, which is the vehicle of Lord Shiva, is the bull. Here, the bull face, you can see ears, and that's the face, and there's the hat, right? The horned hat of Pashupati. On the reverse side, you have weird curvature lines, right? This is the hat on a boar. Those are the tusks. So now you have the Nandi bull, but you also have a boar, okay? Remember, all of these other ones are modified by other signs, okay? All the way through. Now, Mahadevan erroneously boar, right? You can see his 2 ears and 4 tusks. Boar actually have 2 small tusks and then 2 big ones. So this is the sign for the boar. So that'll clear up issues going forward. Here is, this was an aha moment. No pun intended, but you'll see what I mean. This is a dependent A. Okay, when it's written small, it's A. When it's written large, it's still A, but it can also be Ha, H-A. This, because you have to remember that the Indus Valley people loved architecture, were amazing builders, and so they had a lot of ways to measure things. And one of them was using a system of weighted stone cubes, okay? So I looked at the second sign and immediately knew it was a measurement cube. Right? Inside the person. Yeah. So this is the measurement cube, and so the word for measure is ma, right? But this is not the base sign ma because it's got 2 lines on the inside. Remember what I said about, but they expand it as maha. So it's maha, even though it's mha. Okay, tracking? So this sign is maha, that's maha, okay? This sign I thought was a scale because it looks like one and it's right up against another measurement sign. That assumption was incorrect on my part, and I corrected this. I initially had it written out right here, but later on in the paper you'll see what it is, and it's extremely just mind-blowing what it actually is. Yeah. Slender, longer, early, short, and yeah, short and concise. To the point. This is how I explain like the structure of it. This one and this one, they just look the same, but they're not. Pretty cool part. So this, I can translate this for you. This part, I don't know what this is over here. I can barely tell what it is. Here redacted. Kalmu. Okay, cool. Yeah, hang out for as long as you can. 4:30. Ooh, way vague. No, I haven't. Thank you for reminding me, though. I'll type that in elsewhere. Write it down. I'll do it. Okay. So this is ah, and then boom. buzzing? Is that better? I turned it down some. Is that better? It shouldn't be. Because this is the one that was like tremendously better and it shouldn't be making weird noises. You know what it could be? I do have the router. I did move the router closer to it. Thank you. I did move the router. Let me move it further away and see what happens. Is that any better? Okay. To do. I hope. Hopefully it's not. Hopefully it's not terrible. Oh, you guys, it might be the cello stuff I'm playing in the background that you're hearing. Maybe. Echo. Be quiet. Okay, so here is Rasa Abu. The 3 lines is Rasa. Louda? Wait a minute. Is that any better? Any better? I must have actually broken it or something. Let me grab my headphones. But I'm not. Okay, can I keep going or do I need to change devices? Okay, so this is Rasa Abdu, the essence of the unmanifest. Okay. But what we're going to point out, or what we're going to talk about here, is this sign on the Nandi bowl. This sign is extremely important. Okay. The Nandi bowl is called the standing one. Okay. In fact, Shiva, Lord Shiva, is called the standing one. They both are, right? It means they stand firm. Okay. It's usually applied to faith or being immovable. But here this stood out because I was like, okay, this sign has something to do with the quality of the Nandi bowl. So I knew that much. And so I started looking into the quality of the Nandi bowl, and I'm like, standing. 2 different signs, and this here that's not the case here. You say the insight first, boo, right? This is sa, and then Tha on the outside. So here the sign Sa is radiating in every direction, right? And the outside is the oval Tha or Ta. Okay? So Sa and Tha, and then it's like, oh, they're dropping the A, it's Tha. So that sign means Sta, standing firm. These seals, and apply that concept to this, right? That is Sta. This deity is representing or embodying Sta, standing firm. Same thing with this deity. Okay, standing firm against tiger attack. Now, Sta is typically only associated with Shiva, right? He's a male deity. This is a male. This, surprisingly, is a female. So what is a female deity doing, being directly associated with Sta in the same form as Shiva? And it's because originally the epithet Sthenu or Sla was not associated with just Lord Shiva. It was all devas, all gods. So we've got this idea in place now, okay? And do you see how the inscriptions are almost always with animals? Like Vishnu breaking out of the, yep. So you typically see these animals associated with the inscription, but it has nothing to do with the animals in any kind of direct way. Okay. Let's look up at the Pashupati seal again. You have these animals. Here's the rhino. And then we have the tiger, the elephant, the water bull. And what do all these four animals have in common? Of course, you just read the text and figure it out. It's still not fixed? Okay, I'm going to switch. 4 legs? You're not wrong. You are not wrong. Okay. Video capture device. This might not be any better, but we're going to try. That would fix it, but is this any better? I really hope it is. Your voice is louder, same buzzing. I have no idea what it is. The router. I can't think of anything. I can put another filter on here. Edit filters. Noise gate. Noise suppression. Add. Yeah, but I switched devices, so it shouldn't be doing it anymore. Um, let's try this. Oh yeah, that's what it was. I had to add a filter to it. Perfect. All right. That being said, let me add this filter to the other one because I don't feel like wearing these. All right, going back. Noise suppression. All right. Does that help with this too? Or do I need to go back? Hopefully I fixed it. Check. Check. Maybe. Maybe not. I don't know. Okay, so I'm gonna. Dang it. Okay. Um, these four animals, yes, they have four legs. Okay, so this, these animals, yes, they have four legs, can resist attack from humans, right? Humans um, cannot fight them; they'll be eliminated. So basically, all these animals embody the quality of sta. Does that make sense? Is the sound good now? I really hope so. Put a 3 in the chat box if the sound is okay. The one that worked. All right. I'm thinking. I am thinking. Let's see. What do you mean? Okay. Well, that's good. Of sta. Okay. And so Pashupat, they're Ta'atiro, right? Meditating. This is where it gets neat. I started with this because this is pretty cool. Okay. Let me try.
Don't move. Don't do anything. All right. Okay. All right. All right. So I realized what the problem was. I had to put my webcam twice for the camera out for the audio output. Don't know why, but that worked perfect. Okay, so audio input capture, is that better? Does that help? That should help. Okay, so here we have uh, the naming conventions. Okay, we have, perfect. We have the sign on the end here is Kia. Okay, in Sanskrit, that means is named or is called. So Akya, okay, Akya is called. Akya. Ka Akya. So what they've done here is they put the curved sign for Ka here attached to the A. So it's Ka, and then you read the A again. Akya. Ka Akya. So it means and he is called. These are two surnames. This one is well known, Bukia. Okay, it's a Rajasthani tribal surname, and scholars haven't been able to figure out. I now know that Bukia means manifest, not the earth. It's not related to the earth. I understand that the people, the Banjari and Lambadi people, are pastoral, but that's not what it means. It does not mean earth. It means manifest. So their last name literally means called manifest or transmission, right? It has that idea behind that term. But honestly, this is probably the progenitor of the clan. Okay, so it would be a personal name rather than a surname, possibly. How cool is that? So now we have the Indus script talking about this clan, this people, right? But the original person, the original clan leader from a long, long time ago, right? Where they got their name from. Have two vowels together, you either have to put some sort of glide sound in between the two of them when you're saying it. So it can either be a Y or an H, right? So, like for example, Aya, A-Y-A. There's a sign that's a double A. You have to put a Y noise in between it. There's another one that's I. You have to put an H, Ihi. So there are rules to this, and you do have to follow them. You can't just be like willy-nilly. It's going to compare to the other ones. Okay, but these are still also nested graphemes. Okay, basically it's just two signs, one nested inside the other. I know it doesn't look like that, and let me show you what I'm talking about. Okay. Um, okay, so 70 is a nested grapheme. Okay, you have one sign, the I sign, and the inside, and the fish sign on the outside. Okay, same thing here. You have the slash on the inside, fish sign on the outside. Here we go. We've got a sign inside another one, so on and so forth, right? That's this one, and this one is one whole sign, so on and so forth. Okay, and like it's not, it is. These are nested graphemes. And so 285, this B sign is nested inside (105). Okay, that one's nested inside 105. It just expands those tally marks out. And this is A, but that's not a word. So you have to apply the vocalic glide, and it makes it Aya, or Aya. Aya. Okay. And you add that on the end of the word. So you read the inside first and the outside last. But it doesn't always follow that rule, but for the most part, they do, the way they're constructed. This is the part that I worked on literally right before I got on live, okay? These are the numerals. I knew they weren't numerals because they have attachments that are syllables. So there's no way that these could be numerals, okay? One, and now I can't find the other one. There we go. Sa. The sa sign. This is the way I was thinking because this is the way that I would do it. If you want to put rasa, the sign ra is a single line, a long line, okay? Up and down, right? So this is sa. Well, this already has a line in the center and it means sa. So where would you put the other ra sign? It would look the same. So what they did was it still represents rasa as a nested thing. Does that make sense? So this is, and in the context of all the inscriptions, it does make sense. I also use context to make sure I'm on the right path. So this is rasa. So rasa, rasa. This is ga. And in Sanskrit, rasaga can also be rasaka. It's spelled both ways. So that's why I have that there. This is the sign for ya. And this is where I was confused. I kept looking at this and I'm like, I'm going to understand this one day. And then all of a sudden, I noticed a very small spatial issue in between here and here. It was just slightly larger gap than in between here and here and here. And I was like, no way. So it is literally just a combination of 107 next to 105. That's what it is. 107 and 105 together. Because if you look up here, the same way, look, you've got two signs smashed up against each other. Okay, in fact, so much so that they made this one very thin, but actually it's much wider as a primary sign. Okay, so this is rasa, but really it's ha. Okay, in this instance, it can also be ha. Rasa, ha, aya. Rasa, ha, aya. Okay, and in this script, when you have the same syllable or the same letter, the same syllable or a or vowel repeated back to back, they just collapse them. Okay, so it becomes rasahaya, and then you drop that a, and it is yoke sign, which is na. That's attested elsewhere in other Indic scripts. Okay, so it's na, rasaha, and then aya, and again, same thing. You collapse it. This is the collapsed form. I did it first, so it's easier to understand. And these two words are a part of Hindu philosophy, and the idea of rasa is the essence. Right now, currently, or at least how it progressed, rasas became known more in the theater and the arts to describe emotion invoked, the term for that. But in that instance, it's talking about the essence of the hero. Vira means hero, rasa means essence. So it's not talking about it from like a theatrical perspective. That's how we use it now. But originally, that's not what it meant. I hope that makes sense. So I was excited to find out that because I was able to figure out that it was two signs together, because it involved all Rig Veda. Okay. What else? Here we have rasa rasa. When you double up on words in Sanskrit, it just means like the best or the most of. Okay. It's a little confusing, but it's ha, ha, aya. And remember, we collapse if there is. So we're going to collapse the a's together, and it just becomes haya. Okay. And in Vaishnavism, haya is denoting existence, but there's a lot more than just existence to it. It's the relationship to Vishnu and all of that, and sat and asat, and being and non-being. And finally, okay, this sign right here is the deer headdress, and I know, okay, so we have pa, ri, I got ri, this can be ri, re, ru. That's the raw sign with the hu or u attachment. It looks like the small square inside the bigger square, but really it's just a right angle. Okay, so we've got pa, ri, pi, ka, akya. The purifier, and he is known by name. This is I inside of the ta or tha sign. So it can be ti or iti if it's by itself. If it's just that sign by itself and it's not the word, okay, so that's iti. Okay, or that would be iti. This is ti, ya. This is ja, ya. Okay, this is confusing, but this is the iti sign on both sides. When they overlap, they create another sign, the fish sign. Okay, it just doesn't have the little fins, but this is the fish sign right here with a forward slash. Okay. So this is T. Okay. Mitra. because the fish sign is Mina, and if you, what they call rebus, you rebus it to its first syllable, me. So Mina becomes me, right? I learned through studying all these other signs that the slash is TR or T, okay? In this instance, it's TR. So it's T meter or mitra T, okay? They like to drop a lot of initial vowels, so it's supposed to be full accord or treaty. Now, mitrati itself, okay, means behave in a friendly manner, all right? But context is victory and war and heroes and all of that. So to me, it makes more sense. So then we have ma. Remember I said the measuring cube on the line is ma, right? Sri. The splendor of Mappa, which is an epithet for Vishnu. Pa, ya, ma, Sri. Remember this is a, so we have to put a y. Sriya, bu. Okay. The great milk, the joy of the unborn. And now this, I know it sounds weird. Why are they talking about milk right now? But it's because there's the story of the churning of the ocean of milk, right? Creating Amrita, which gives the devas or the deities immortality. So that is their joy. The joy of the unborn being the deities. They are not born, they are not physical form, right? They are unborn or unmanifest. So their joy is the great milk, and the great milk of the great ocean is Amrita. So I think that this rendering is the closer translation rather than this one. So this is pra, okay, ma, di. This is a bow, so danu, right? D, and that's the I. Pra, ma, di, hava, ba. In Sanskrit, B can also be a V. R can also be an L. D, a T. So those can be exchanged, right? Yes, so this may say havaba, but it is havava, okay? Pramadi. Madi is a shortened form of saying Prama-adi havava, the beginning, the primordial mother, the invocation of water. Here we have pa, ka. This is the first time we see ya attached to ka, okay? Pa, pakaya, yatha, pi. The dependent condition aligned precisely. And this is a component of Hinduism. We have ja, pa, ta. The oval is tha or ta, and that is also attested in current Indic script. Okay. Ja, pa, ta. The state of one who mutters prayers. Okay. Pa, kia. You can render it ripening, but I think it makes more sense to render it this way as pa akia. The protector is named. Either way, this is a name. This is a naming convention, right? It's either a surname or a personal name. This is Patri Abu. Patri Abu. Patri can mean wing, ritual vessel, or consort. In this particular instance, I do believe this is the more appropriate reading, the consort of the unmanifest. This is where we get into the Nara signs. And these were fun because I saw a lot of phrases that actually do occur in the Rig Veda and elsewhere. So this is the sign for man, right? Nara. This is not iti, because this sign is for itself. It does not attach to this. It does not attach to this. Narapati, iti abu. The Lord of men, lo or behold, the unmanifest. Iti, ka, mi, ja with an H, ga, ta, vira. This is the unknown sign. So Mahadevan used a scratched mark sign because he was unsure of how to categorize it. I really wish he hadn't done that, but that's so I figured out that it means Vira just from like context of all the other stuff. Okay, so having the speed of my swift song of the hero. I don't know what this is still to this day. Hopefully I'll figure it out soon. This is pa. This is meter. Okay. This is ga tha. I need to erase this part because this is not his name, Mitra. This is the word for ally or friend. Okay. The protector, something, friend's song. And pagama or apagama, it means death or unattachment. Most likely unattachment. Okay. I love this one because it does reference the song of creation in the Rig Veda. That's what this is referencing. Ja Gatha Gatha. Jagatha Gatha. This represents an individual. Okay. All of the anthropomorphic signs, all of the men, right, and the women are people. They represent actual personhood. Okay. So this is bara, bara. Okay, it means bearer. Okay, bara, God. You'll see here, this is the ruler of the Indus people as the bearer. Okay, and we'll talk about that later. Okay, but every single time it says bara, it's talking about the ruler of the Indus people. So we have bara, gata, aja, ra, but we don't say ajara, we say ajara. Bara, gata, ajara, right? The bearer song of the imperishable. Varagata Aja E Apagama. The bearer song of the unborn and unattachment. It's unattachment. But it can be rendered as departure or death, but it makes more sense considering the context for it to be unattachment. Okay. This is a person bowing. They don't really ever draw the heads on the people. So this is a person bowing. And the word for bow is namo, right? So we reduce it to nam. Bu, nam, ma. Okay. Sru, sri or shri, sva. Okay. And it means the manifest salutation or name is the transmission of the auspicious self. And talk about the Puranas and the Vedic corpus and all the discussion of that there. Ari, P, Ka, to Hinduism. Okay, this is Sru, Mi, Rasa, Rasa. Sru, Mi, Rasa, Rasa. And I forgot what that means, but Rasa, Rasa means the most, the greatest essence. Okay, this is where you start to get into Africa. And it's not. So the way Sanskrit is, right, if you add certain suffixes to a root, it'll change the vowel, and then you have to add like a T or an S in there. But that's only when that happens. This actually is existing on its own as an affricate without any kind of change to the word, which is interesting. And that is a hallmark of Proto-Indo-Aryan, right? Remember I said that the slash means T or TR? That's what this is. Okay. So it's Sukha Ajara, the bliss of the undecaying, i.e. the supreme. This is Bar Tri Abu, the mother of the unmanifest or the unmanifest mother. Pa Sula Tree Abu. Now this line, 3 Sula, 3 spear. In Indus Sanskrit, it's written the opposite. You've got the object and then the modifier after it. So this is Pa Sula Tree Abu, the protector's trident of the unmanifest. So whenever you see a Nara sign holding the object to the right, it's focusing on the object as the word, because otherwise it would be Ra, right? So he's holding a spear, so it is Sula. This is Vira, okay? This is a mat or a rug, and what do we do on a mat or a rug? We sit on it, right? Back then. Nowadays we don't do that, really. So in prayer or meditation, you sit on a rug. So that is asana, as you're seated on it. Vira asana. So you collapse the A's, Vara. And then we have Ra, and then Abu, the noble seat of the hero, the radiant unmanifest. Now, Ra possibly might be Agni. In another inscription, it seems to imply Agni. So rather than radiant here, it might be talking about Agni, but I don't think so. That's why I put radiant. This is a really nice inscription. A lot of information here. Okay. Ayama, Piyata, Suyata, Riya, A. Okay. Here it's A on the end is like an exclamation. Okay. It says the ritual drink overflows with guided or well-restrained inspiration or divine speech. Right. So the ritual drink is soma. Okay. It's a sacred plant in both Zoroastrianism, okay, and Vedic religion. It gives you the ability to be inspired and to have divine speech. And I write about this, all of this, in my identification of the original